All right, guys. Wait, Lance, get back in frame.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome back to Maple.Realty show, and we're here to discuss a few topics today. Back with Roman and Lance. Um, and then go ahead, Roman. I guess you
Yeah,
have a few things to tell.
so basically, I've noticed I want to just go through some real life scenarios that I've been dealing with and hear your thoughts and opinions. I've noticed a huge increase in rental activity, specifically in the last like week or 2 weeks. So I'm
Hmm.
working with about like 8 tenants and 2 landlords right now. And I've had
Well,
some challenges, obviously, with that amount of volume coming in right at once. Um,
yeah,
but but basically, to sum it up, in the last week, I had uh 6 rejected offers for 4 different clients, and it's been
whoa,
really great. So on a positive note, I was working. I'll start off with one of my clients. Single guy, works in the union doing sheet metal, so he has good income, good credit, everything. He's
yeah,
a simple guy, so he's just looking for a basement for himself, a 1 bedroom, 1 washroom situation, around uh $1,800 a month. So I met this guy last year, May 2025. I had a listing up for lease, and basically he reached out to me online through realtor.ca. He wanted to see the listing. My landlord at the time preferred someone different. So she ended up
mm,
proceeding with a couple instead. So I continued to work with this guy from May of last year, and finally last week I was able to secure him a place. And typically rentals don't take us that long. Like we've done rentals as quick as a week or 2 weeks. We've found someone a place and got secured. But
yeah,
his situation, he was very specific on what he wanted. And as most realtors know, especially dealing with basement rentals, it could be very hit or miss, right? Like they could
yeah,
either be very nice, very clean, or extremely disgusting and unlivable. So unfortunately, in our situation, the listings that he kept sending me that he wanted to go see, they would look nice on the photos. We'd go see them in person, and then they would be a complete dump. And finally, we ended up finding a nice place that suited his needs. We presented an offer and we got it accepted. So it turned out to be good. And he wasn't pressed for a specific timeline. The reason why he wanted to leave was because his current landlord was giving him issues. And then he was having problems where the landlord wouldn't fix things and kind of leave things to go to the dump. And then to top it all off, the landlord wanted to raise his rent. So at that point, it drew the straw for him, and he wanted to find something else. So it worked out. We we successfully found something which he'll get the keys on February 1st. But that brings me to
well,
my first topic that I want to ask you guys about, because
hmm,
I'm disgusted with the amount of poorly managed basement rentals there are in the city in the GTA that I've personally come across, where the photos look nice. I come in and it's like you don't even want to take your shoes off. Like it's that bad, that run down. It smells. It's like I don't even know how people live in there. My
It's
grandma
like you
always
get
told me
catfished.
you don't have to be
yeah,
rich to be clean. So it's one thing how the tenants are living, and then let's say they leave it in bad condition for the landlord, but it's another thing for the landlord to actually present it like that to get new renters. So my idea is that I think the city should implement is like almost like a green pass for landlords, kind of like they do in restaurants. Like you get a green pass, and every time you rent your place, you have to pay like let's say $100 or something, and you got to get a green pass before you could actually even rent it out. Because I've walked into some rentals where I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, uh, people should be ashamed of themselves, A, living like that, and B, renting it out like that. That's not even. I find it's creating a big issue in the market because there's a lot of desperate people that I've even worked with where they're willing to sacrifice themselves living in a condition like that and trying to clean it
Yeah.
up themselves because
Yeah.
they're stressed with the situation where they're like, I need a place to live really bad, whatever the case is, and maybe their budget is really low or whatever. So then they're almost forced into, let's say, a rental like that, and then the landlord just washes their hands and, you know, says, well, if someone wants to rent it in that condition, then you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely seen a lot of basements like what you've described. Um, I've never heard of the Green Pass before, so I'm not too
No,
familiar with it.
it's not an actual thing. I'm saying, um, I think it would be a good idea if the government actually started some type of program that helps regulate these rentals better. So the landlords are responsible for having it in a certain standard before they even could post it on MLS or let
I
people go in and show it like that.
I think if you were to do that, I don't think we have the resources to even enforce something like that. And then the second thing is, if you were to do that, I think there will be a lot of things that will just come off the market because like some people just won't be able to clean it up, or they just won't do it. I don't think, at least to the standards that probably we want, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
It's a
then the
messy.
other thing, there's definitely some, like you said, that are pretty bad. But then also, I think sometimes in winter, it's hard showing these places because it's so messy outside, and people bring in their shoes, and then it gets all sloppy in the entrance, and then I find that kind of annoying too. But you can't do anything about that.
Well, that's one thing though, because that could just be deep cleaned and stuff. But I'm talking about where you actually see like a hole in the wall or the faucet's falling apart and it's like all rusted and something's going
Oh,
on with the ceiling.
I would immediately just skip that like right away. I wouldn't even try to fix it because of what you said, right? If they're going to present it in a way with the hole in the wall in the first place, then there's no point putting an offer with conditions saying you must fix the hole in the wall before we move in, because chances are if something else were to happen, they're not going to fix it till the next
Yeah,
person. So
it's it's crazy. So that was one situation, but thankfully we ended up finding a nicely renovated place and everything like that. My another situation that I ran into last week. This this is a couple really good clients of mine. They're past clients of mine actually. I helped them find a rental 3 years ago. Now him and his girlfriend want more space, so they wanted a 2 bedroom. Perfect credit, over 850 credit score, great income.
well,
Both of them, yeah, very good. So they're just looking for a condo, and I thought this is a one and done deal. Like, we're going to find a place, make an offer, and it will be done and over with, right? So it was almost the case. We um we made an offer on the property. The landlord looked at the profile. He said, looks excellent. We should have no issues. And sometimes how with rental negotiations, it could go back and forth a little longer because they need to do the verification of the employer, the landlord
yeah.
reference, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes uh, listing agents and the landlords will take more time, rightfully so, to review the actual application, right? Because they need to, maybe they don't get a hold
Well,
of the lawyer or whatever the case is, right? So I'm
yeah.
going back and forth
And
with this agent all day. Next day comes, back and forth, back and forth. Then he finally calls me and he says, oh, the landlord, I'm so sorry, we would have accepted your offer, but the landlord decided to give it to his son instead. So I'm like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. So
yeah.
fast forward the next day, we make an offer on another property to move quickly. And
Yeah.
similar situation, we're going back and forth with the landlord, the agent. Then the agent even does a Zoom meeting with my clients. Everything connects well. He says, "Yeah, they're great." We showed them proof of rental payment, everything. And then he calls me at 9 o'clock at night on the third day of going back and forth, giving documents, reviewing things. On the third day at 9 p.m. at night, he calls me and he says, "I'm so sorry. The landlord's decided to sell the property instead." The next day, the landlord had it up for sale. So that brings me to my second topic. I've noticed a trend because two offers in a row, kind of a similar situation. The first one, we decided to give it to the son. The second one, they decided to sell it. And then we actually
Yeah.
made a third one, but we got it accepted, thankfully. So that worked out. But I've noticed because we have such a huge supply of condos in the
Yeah.
market, a lot of people want to sell their condo, but can't. So then they're deciding to rent instead, but then you
Mm-hmm.
get some cases, like the one that I dealt with, where they then post it up for rent and then decide to sell it instead. So I think this could potentially cause a problem, or maybe not even necessarily a problem next year. Because if there's a huge supply of condos right now in the market that
Okay.
people want to sell it, but they
Okay.
can't, so they decide to rent it instead. Typically, when we sign a rental agreement, it's like a 1 year lease. So
Yeah.
that probably means after 1 year, most of
Yeah.
those landlords again are going to want to sell. So we might have an increase of supply then of condos for sale next year if
I
people
don't know if
decide
it,
to.
I don't know if it would necessarily be an increase in supply. I think if anything, it most likely would be an elevated supply. Because let's say everything in February, um, like before was listed on the market, then they rented it out from February 2026 to February 2027, and it goes back on the market. It's still a 1-for-1 listing as a coming onto the market for sale or for rent. So I just don't think it's changing the situation. I think it's prolonging the situation, if anything.
That
And
makes
yeah,
sense.
there are.
So
So
if that's the case, then the condo market, in terms of buying and in terms of prices, should probably stay relatively affordable even next year, if
yeah,
that's the case.
I think most likely condos. If the condo prices aren't going up, they're just going to be affordable or more affordable coming soon. And I think 2026 is a pretty interesting year because a lot of people bought in 2021, and if they signed up for 5-year mortgage renewals, then they might feel like they want to get out or so. And condos, um, I'm not sure if this statistic is right, but I think in December, like only 87 condos were sold um, on
In
trend.
Toronto,
Yeah,
or yeah,
I'm not
okay.
sure. I'm not sure. Even
Yeah, that
I,
seems a
I think
little.
that's very low for
uh,
all of GTA. That's very small.
I don't think it
I
would be 87. We'll have to fact check that
yeah,
and
we'll
maybe
we'll,
leave
we'll
it.
fact we'll fact check it for next week. That'll be interesting. Um, but it just goes to show how much of a buyer's market it currently is in condos, not
Yeah,
necessarily in houses. Houses. Um, I wouldn't say it's a buyer's market there.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so that was number two that I dealt with. Another one that I dealt with. This one this one was crazy. So four friends, three males, one female, all childhood friends. They all grew up together.
Yeah.
Amazing credit, amazing income. Their combined income between all four of them was $350,000. One
Okay.
individual alone paid 120, and then another individual alone made 100, and then the difference between the other two. Very good jobs like software engineering, those types of jobs. And
Okay.
we saw a place that was listed for $3,700 a month for the main floor and the top floor, 4 bedrooms, 2
Okay.
washrooms, kitchen. And when we walked into this place, it was a disaster. Like, the current tenants that were living there, like, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, a disaster. Like, they had fly traps hanging up from the ceiling. They had like gunk all over like the stove, underneath the fridge, dust. They had like must have had like 200 running shoes just like at the front door, just all like
Oh,
scattered. And it was like really bad. And my
Yeah.
client, they still liked it because they liked the layout and the size, and they said if the landlord could guarantee like that they'll deep clean it, then they're okay
Yeah.
with it. And they had
Yeah.
reduced the price from 3,700 to 3,400. So I said,
Oh, that's a
okay,
big drop.
yeah, probably because of the condition it was in. It was in pretty rough condition. It needed
Oh,
but structurally, it looked okay in the layout. It just needed a deep clean. Like, everything had to get, you know, taken out
yeah.
and really clean. So they're in a position where they need a place really, really bad. So they're like, we're willing to take it the way it is and just clean it ourselves, or hoping that the landlord will clean it.
Yeah.
So we ended up making an offer for this place, and
Okay.
the agent, we provided employment letters, last 3 pay stubs, full credit report, photo IDs. So pretty, and rental applications. So pretty much the standard that we always provide.
Yeah.
After day 1, um, the agent asked us if we could provide more documentation. The landlord was still having some concerns. So we provided bank statements for each individual showing proof of their rental payments. And then the agent wanted to do a Zoom meeting with them, so we did that. It went well. And then the agent said to me that he verified their employment. So he called each of their employers, verified their employment. He could see their pay stubs. He has their employment letter. He has their bank statements reflecting, what each individual makes. And we did a Zoom meeting so he could see we're real, legit people. And
Yeah.
still, he comes back to us on the 3rd day and he says, my landlord is still concerned. I want to have a Zoom meeting with each individual, and I want them to basically log into their bank accounts, share their screen, and show proof of them making rental payments. So I said, that's a little, extra, a lot extra.
that's
So
That
big.
I passed on the message to my
That's,
client, and they're a little like thrown off now because they're like, "This is
of
ridiculous.
course.
We've
It is.
provided
Oh my god.
everything possible, right?"
Yeah.
And they were saying to me, which I totally agree with my clients. They were saying to me, this isn't uh even a privacy thing. They're like, we don't care showing it, but it's a trust thing at this point, because it's
Yeah,
like,
it
we don't know
is.
who the landlord is. Okay, they don't
Uh-huh.
know who we are, but they know a lot more about us. We just provided employment letters, they confirmed employment,
Exactly.
pay stubs, credit, bank statements, and a Zoom meeting. So
Mm-hmm.
they're like, who knows? What if we leave a deposit and the landlord just, takes
Yep.
it and runs, type of thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I agreed with them, so I tried politely explaining to the agent, like, my clients aren't comfortable to do that, not because they have anything to hide, but because there has to be some, of a personal relationship too. Like, there has to be some level of human connection, trust through the transaction. At the end of the day, okay, business is business. The landlord's
Mm-hmm.
trying to protect themselves, but we've checked off all the boxes. So to a certain point, business is business, but then there has to be a human connection to it too, right? Like,
Of
so we
course.
were kind of
Yeah.
thrown off. So he said, okay, well, then this isn't going to work, if they can't do that. So we respectfully said, okay, well, we're going to, have to move forward onto another property, like best of luck type of thing. The next
Mm-hmm.
day he contacts me. He says, "Are they still interested?" I said, "Yeah, they're still
Again.
interested." Um,
Mm.
and then he's like, "Could we get at least just two of them to share their screen?" So I
No,
spoke to my
man.
clients,
What?
and, and they agreed. My clients agreed. They said, "You know what? We're in a position. We really want this place. We'll do it to
Yeah.
just satisfy them." So two of
Oh,
them do the Zoom meeting. They share their screen. They show the bank statement. They blurred out whatever numbers they didn't want to show.
yeah.
And then after the Zoom meeting, he says, "Okay." He says, let's proceed with the offer, but we'll only put two out of the four people on the lease. So the two that showed the proof put on the lease, the two that didn't put as applicants. I thought that was kind of weird because like it doesn't really make a difference either way. So I talked to my
Mm-hmm.
clients. They were okay with it because they all trust each other. They said, "Yeah, that's fine." I start
Yeah.
drafting the paperwork, and then he contacts me and he says, "Yeah, the landlord's still concerned because the other two haven't shown proof." And I said, "But the two that
Ooh.
did show proof have a combined income of $150,000. So just those two alone that showed the proof have enough income to sustain this rental." I said, "So what's the concern? We've literally showed everything, and you've admitted to me that you confirmed employment." And he said, "Well, the landlord, like, I'm sorry," he said, "it's the landlord's decision. They're not comfortable uh,
Why don't
unless
those
they
guys
do
just
this
buy?
and show proof." So we ended up walking away from the deal, and he texts me and he says, "Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me why they wouldn't show." I'm like, $350,000 combined income, employment letter, pay stubs, credit check, verifying
Mm.
employment, doing landlord
I don't
references
get that.
doesn't make sense. So we ended up walking away from the deal, long story short.
Well,
But
why don't they just buy? With that amount of income combined, it's enough to buy.
yeah, that's what I was,
Especially,
that's a good point, Lance. I was thinking that too. And
yeah, I suggest it to them.
I think they're
I know
scared
the,
because they're four friends. So they're worried like if one of them ends up, finding a partner or something, then
but
it might,
still, they can all buy together and just, split everything in the end, right?
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Whenever I see an income like that and they're trying to rent, I just tell them, you can buy a house. Why are you renting? It doesn't make sense. And they end up buying instead, and more money for you, you know? And for
And
them,
they
because,
don't have to go through the
instead of
hassle
them
of only.
paying someone's mortgage. Yeah.
I just don't feel like people are in a buying mood unless it's like their home that they're gonna settle into.
Yeah.
Unlike 2020 and earlier, everyone wanted to buy then. Now I talk to everyone, no one wants to talk about real estate like that.
Trust me. I know. I know. Mm.
So I feel
And
like
And
most
in
people, I think they just want to sit on the sidelines for the next year or two.
yeah,
And
there's expecting, they're just watching right now, and they're like waiting and watching and hoping that everything will just like we mentioned in the past, like it will go in the very bottom. Like we don't even know what the bottom is or what when the bottom will come. I think this is
no,
already the bottom too, you know.
I think
And
condos might be at the bottom, but they might go down a little bit more. Um,
yeah, well, that's what they're scared of. It is if it's gonna go down some more and they're gonna be stuck there, or they feel like they're losing money from it, even though they're not really planning of selling the house anytime soon anyway. So
I feel like it
no,
should only
but
go down so much. So
yeah,
yeah, it's not gonna go down that much too. Yeah, I don't think so too.
but the problem I think that you got to be cautious about is if you get a condo and you're in the situation you are now, you can't sell it if you need to. Like if life happens, for example, someone bought it with a partner and they got a divorce and they can't sell it, that's really gonna weigh on them till they can
Yeah,
sell it.
exactly. So yeah, that kind of answers why a lot of people doesn't want to buy, because they don't want to commit. They're not sure if they can commit or they want to commit for a certain time. and hold on to the house, right? Because anything can happen, especially what's happening to the world today. A lot of people overthinks and kind of affects what's our market right now is. Well, I mean,
What
it
do you
also
guys?
kind of helps,
Sorry,
huh?
what's that like?
No, it kind of helps you sometimes, the Roman, when you mention that some rental properties are not in shape or, it's really untidy or, really in a mess. Because that it's a leverage. Because what I do with that when I see something like that, I'm like, sometimes we don't even continue it's just really that filthy or
Yeah.
it already kind of throw off the vibe of the client. But sometimes I tell them, you know what? This is a leverage. We can negotiate with this because at the end of the day, they have to clean this up. If they don't clean it up, we can always back out because it's under the condition anyway. Secondly, you can always drop down the price because of this. Like what you said, you from 3,700, you were able to drop it down to 3,400. Maybe
Yeah, that's
maybe that. Yeah. So you always have to use those as leverage with this, and your client will be happy too because they're saving some bucks just because of
I
that. Yeah. Go ahead.
I can't believe that they didn't take those tenants because I'm like, if you have a credit report, like full credit reports, and you confirm employment and they're 800 plus, like what are you looking for, man? Like it's crazy.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't
saying, like,
know.
what
No,
do you what
trust,
do you guys think?
trust me. Dude.
What do you guys think is driving that fear? Because this isn't the first time I've come across a situation like this where they're really, really, really aggressive on I need this, 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 where it comes to a point where it's
No,
like they
I
don't
had
even want
something similar. I had something similar.
Oh,
Good thing I was able to close it last year. I think I kind of mentioned that to you, Roma. I asked you some things about rental property, and then you asked me again if I was able to close it. I said yes. But even when we closed it, bro, when we already signed everything, it's just the move-in date now. All of a sudden, the landlord started asking for more. Like, yo, can you take out the name of the one of the tenants there? Because, for legality purposes, can we change? I'm like, there's already like too much there. Like we were already late because they didn't sign some documents in the end, and I said, we can get in trouble to our brokerage with the Rico because you didn't sign this. We've been waiting, we've been asking you guys to sign it and didn't sign it, and then all of a sudden you want us to change everything again, change the names on the landlord part and also on the tenant part. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It kind of works out
it.
fine, and they even made a separate entrance because it didn't have a separate entrance. And all the deals that we had, they said that, oh, they have to go through the garage to go to the basement. I'm like,
yeah.
it doesn't make sense. If you're gonna put your car there in winter, because we asked them, oh, can we use the garage then? So that, to avoid your car getting scratched because they have kids. And also, it's hard to go through if someone's car is there and they have stuff to bring, like groceries. So it's like,
It's
no,
just
I'm like, all these things, it kind of adds up. But in the end, she has to, like, the landlord needs to kind of honor what we spoke about verbally when we first, because when we visited the place, we were surprised she was there too, waiting for us in the basement. The landlord wanted to meet me and the client, right? We didn't expect that it's gonna be like that, but it's good,
Yeah.
because that way, we were able to ask questions, and they also had got to know me and the client,
I
and it
never
helped because
I never mind
never,
meeting the landlords. I actually encourage it a lot of times so both parties
Yeah.
know who they're dealing with,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I just find it very unfortunate uh in so many cases when renters are looking for places, it could be so discouraging because you got a good group of people, hardworking, they provide a lot, to the economy, they make good money, good credit, and they're trying to find a place, and then they're getting like scolded on every little detail of their life just to rent, a place that isn't even like fancy, so to speak, and they're paying a lot of money for like
Exactly.
$1,400 a month. So
No, I
I was
know.
going to ask you guys, for all the renters out there looking for a renter, like a rental, what's your advice to them when they're looking for places and they start to get discouraged when they're making
I
offers and they're
mean,
not, or people are asking
it,
them for
it,
the Bro.
I just tell them, like, sometimes it takes us even a year to find someone a place, right? Even for rentals or sale, and even all this interest rate going up. It happened to us several times, and you can tell by the look. And when you first meet these clients, they're so happy, and then when it goes to a long time like that, it's like they're fed up, and you're also fed up, but you cannot show that to them, right? You need to show this poker face, and you need to be the one that's really
But
being
the
the positive
problem is,
person here.
some people don't
Yeah, and then
have
you
a
tell,
year to wait, right? Like the clients that I was dealing with, their
yeah,
previous house got caught on fire, so they needed a new place fast. Like they were staying at an Airbnb, they were staying
yeah, yeah.
with rent.
So that's a
So
different. Yeah, it's more like a rush. So now they're in a rush, but you have to tell them that sometimes it's a stroke of luck that you didn't get that place, because if before you guys can even close things, these are already happening. What more if you're already a tenant and a landlord? More problems can happen because you already see what that person or landlord is. What more can he do once he's your landlord? So it's
Yeah.
better to end the relation, the relationship right there. It's always better. Like, if some things like that it's not meant to be. For me, I tell them usually you will be thankful. If once we find the right place for you, you will be thankful that you didn't get that one.
that's very
Yeah,
good advice actually, because I couldn't agree
yeah,
more with you. I think the Earth's energy has its way. If it's meant to be, it's going to be, and it always works out in the end, in my experience.
exactly.
But sometimes it's discouraging, and like you're dealing with that, and they're asking you for everything, you give everything, and then they still deny you. It's like, what the heck? But
Well,
it's like Lance said, you don't even want to rent from that person anyways, if that's the case. So if you're looking for a rental right now and you're coming across that situation, I would take that advice that Lance said for sure and just move on quick
yeah,
to the next
the
and the
earlier you
relationship.
move on, the better. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's not worth pushing on. Sometimes if there's really nothing in the market or nothing for your client, or they really like it that much, then push it. Even though it's gonna be complicated. But sometimes I tell them, you know what, better to just move on. Because better, instead of us trying to deal with it, and now you're losing more opportunity on the other properties that might be better for you. You know,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah,
new
and it worked that way. Yeah,
and new properties come to the market every day. I
yeah,
would generally just say move quick. Unless you really like it, like Lance said. If you really like it, then I think spend all the time it takes. If you have a potential suitable landlord that you think you're compatible with. But if not, I would say just move on quickly to the next one. And I would constantly remind them of other clients that we've had and how difficult it was for them and that it's no different for them because Toronto is a very competitive place. And these landlords might have gotten spoiled from earlier when they were just getting so many applicants. Now they're not getting the
hmm
same, but they still feel just as entitled to, or they think that they'll still get the same type, but it's a different market now. So you have to adjust and adapt.
exactly, exactly. It's a different market. It's a different ball game now. So everyone needs to adjust, even the landlords. I mean, sometimes you have to let them realize that your place is not gonna be rented with that kind of entitlement, and say especially if your place is not even that nice, or it's not clean, it's not it's filthy, or it's not the best in the world, right? So
No, you
you
need
know,
every advantage you can get right now, in my opinion. If you're renting
yeah. So
as a landlord, you want to keep it, you want to do everything you can to get it gone because there's so much rentals available. Um,
exactly. I
That
mean, that's why you have to let these landlords know that you're not just the only place in the world, and your place is not the
that
best out there too. So better,
that actually brings me to my last topic I wanted to discuss is on the landlord side. So I'm dealing with two landlord clients, both in the same
hmm
area, uh, Kingston Road and Midland area of Toronto. So I think that's EO8,
hmm
Birch. One of them is a main floor. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 washroom, fully renovated,
hmm
parking. And then the other one is a condo across the street, 2 bed, 2 bath, parking, and locker. The they're both the main floor house is listed for 2,600, and condo is listed for 2,500. And what's interesting is we posted these back in December, so we were expecting that the market would be quiet due to Christmas and the holidays and New Year's, which it was. So for it's been about 50 days now. Yeah, it's been about 50 days now since we've had them up, and we basically got almost no activity on both of them. And then, which I found was interesting. So I put them on Facebook, and then I got a few leads. We had a few showings from the MLS and Realtor.ca, and it was basically pretty dry. And now all of a sudden, yesterday, I did a few showings on one of them, and then from yesterday night to today, within like a 24-hour period, I've just got a huge number of inquiries, like maybe like 20 inquiries on the house.
Wow.
It's still nothing on the condo. So I was like, what the heck? 50 days go by, nothing, and then all of a sudden I got like 20 inquiries now off of like Realtor.ca and Facebook for the house, but still nothing on the condo. I got one for the condo. I was like, what the heck's going on here?
I feel like that
Yeah, it's
might
really
like, or a technical error. How do you get 28 immediately? Kind of random, no?
Like, no, I could. Well, I can't show you my phone because I'm on it, but like literally,
Yeah.
like
I
immediately after,
might be real, but just happened.
and people are
Oh,
responding
Lance
when I
cut off.
respond. Oh, jeez. When I
Yeah.
respond to the increase, they're responding back saying, "Oh, we're a couple, or we're this, or we're that." So the real increase, which is interesting,
Yeah.
uh, but I'm starting to wonder: is this early signs of the market starting to pick up, or is it just a coincidence? What do you guys think? Coincidence
It
or
can
early
be
signs
both.
Uh,
of a good spring?
It can. I think it's more of a coincidence though, but who
yeah, I
knows?
think
I think it's because everyone's back from the holidays. They're starting to like get into it. Maybe they already had these plans before, but they don't want to do it on, like you said, winter is always dry even before all this crazy market begun, right? But now, everyone's getting like, oh, you know what? Let's start looking for another place, or let's start looking for a place, and now they're doing it. Maybe they've been
Yeah.
eyeing your property, your listing for a while. They all just thought of the same thing at the same time, at the same day, right?
28 is a
Which
big
is good for
coincidence.
you.
Yeah, it's good for
Yeah,
you.
well, it is good for you.
So
You've been
you
asking
both
for this.
think it's a coincidence then, not early signs of the market increasing.
What do you
Well,
think?
well, well, like you said, it might be both, right? Because who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe because imagine if only one of those 28 can get your property, and those other 28 still needs to get other properties. And the more, if those 20, all that whole 28 will be able to get a property, that affects the whole market because you're not the only realtor there. They're not the only clients there. And, if that happens to a lot of agents, it's like a domino effect, you know?
I also find at this point in time, like 10, 12, 15 days before, especially like 10 days or 12 days, that's when people start looking. I find it a little bit more busy around then. I don't know. It might just
Oh,
be me looking at patterns that don't exist, but I
like
find
you're saying, there's
Maybe,
a
maybe you're
built up
also, maybe
pressure,
you're also
built
affected by
pressure
that
demand.
number, like these guys, It's like consciously you're like, oh, it's the 10th or the 15th,
exactly. And there's
I'm
not
gonna
much
look
time
for a place.
before the end
Yeah,
of the month.
exactly. No, it's like the middle of the month. I don't want another month to pass me by. I want another place maybe next month or in 2 months, right?
That
That makes
that
sense.
that will be the go-getters that who do it in advance. And then there'll be the people on the opposite side who are like, I need to move in 10 days or in two
Yeah.
weeks, and they only get around to it at that time. So you have both.
Oh, you mean the procrastinators? Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
it is.
yeah. Well,
Market
kind of like,
encompasses
yeah.
everyone.
Like, yeah, last minute people, right? They're like, Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to
I would.
move out soon. I just thought of it. I've been thinking about it. You know what? Running out of time. Might as well. But good for you, man. I mean, at least you have that now. You've been asking for that, and it's starting to pick up for you, and that's good. It's like
That's
it's like a slingshot, bro. They were just pulling the sling, and now you're gonna get a
that's
client
pretty
for
much
that.
the wrap of how half my week went. So I don't know if you guys had any
Good.
final thoughts or things to add about the rental market or even a personal experience you're dealing with or something. But otherwise, that's a wrap on.
Mm. Right now, I don't have any rental clients. I have buying clients, and it's been tough. It's still tough to find them a place. I don't know. It's supposed to be the seller side. It's supposed to be, supposed to be having a hard time. But on my part, it's my buyers was, I guess it's just they're picky, I don't know.
Do you, do
They're a
you
bit
think
picky.
do you think that your buyers have too many options to choose from and it's diluting their
Yeah.
focus?
Yeah, well, I just sent them 17 listings just now, and he immediately said no.
Well,
All of,
at
all
least
of
they know
them.
it's fun. So,
Yeah, well, it's been 5 months now, and like they have a timeline. They need to find a place by May, I think.
I think
oh, then
So,
they need.
yeah, but I think a
because they,
problem is with
yeah,
buyers right now is that like the tip for buyers right now that I would give them is if you want to buy, you're ready to buy, be really focused and disciplined on what you're looking for and what you want because it's very easy in a market with a lot more supply to kind of get distracted and say, "Oh, well maybe I want this now or maybe I want this." But it's like stay in your path kind of thing. But figure out what you
well,
want, what
he,
you're willing to sacrifice, what you're not, and then target that before it's too late, and then you might miss out on the opportunity, right? That'd be my advice for your buyers.
I
yeah,
agree with.
exactly. But they know what they want, really. Like they told me what they want. It's always been that. It's just, I don't know. They really because they want it near the highway, Highway 401, from
Yeah,
Scarborough to Whitby. Okay,
And
and
what's
on
their
only
budget?
certain 1.1. We even increased to 1.1. It used to be just 1 million, now to 1.1.
So you want
And they
to
want
say, maybe say what they're looking for, and that way, if any people are watching that are thinking of selling but they haven't yet, reach out to Lance because we might have a buyer.
exactly. Maybe, you guys are out there, watching our video, and you want to sell your house. Don't procrastinate anymore. I got some good buyers for you guys.
So we're,
They have good income for sure.
so we're looking what near the 401 you said, and
Yeah.
$1.1 million
Uh,
budget.
yeah. Three to five bedrooms, and the bedroom needs to be a certain size. That's what's really throwing them off sometimes, because there's a lot of properties that meets those, but they start looking into the size of the room. It needs to be a certain size, and also the age of the house. They want it to be new. So newer, bigger rooms, no pools. There's a backyard with grass, and yeah,
Well,
yeah. But they still
hopefully,
have to see
someone
the place.
contacts you.
They still have to see the place.
Uh,
Trust me, guys. They have to see the place. At the end of the day, even if it meets all those criteria, if they see the place, even by picture or in person, it's still up to them. They will say yes or no. And I thought I had one. They said 50-50 2 weeks ago.
oh,
And then it closed after 2 days when we received it on a realm being posted.
Oh
I
wow.
told them that, oh yeah, we lost this opportunity. They're like, oh yeah, we didn't get back to you because it didn't have grass in the backyard.
oh,
Yeah, I never
okay.
knew that they don't. They didn't tell me that before. At least now I know you want grass in the backyard, so I just added that in the criteria too. Grass in the backyard, no pool.
Any any final thoughts,
Okay, my
Pedro?
phone. No, no, I don't have any today.
Okay.
Not
Well, I
yet.
guess
All right.
that's
Not
a wrap,
not
I guess.
not yet. That's a not yet for Tasia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
all right.
he's
Let's
on
end it.
he's on the slingshot version, right? Like, he's like getting pulled right now, and then he's gonna get that client pound, close deal, bro.
Yeah, well, I might
Okay,
have
guys.
yeah, that's I have
We'll leave
a
it for the next
potential
one.
listing coming.
I like that.
Uh,
You have a potential like that. You see, like I said, it will happen, man. Just keep your
but
heads up, and we're all here, we're all on this together anyway. Us, the realtors, the buyers, the sellers. There, we want the best for everybody, and we're trying our best to help you guys. So, but if you guys don't buy or sell, nothing's gonna happen. That's how it is.
which is fine
There's no
too.
cash flow. Exactly. Exactly. So, there's no cash flow, there's no transactions, there's no, it's like we're all waiting for something to happen, but if we don't move, nothing's gonna happen. The market's not gonna go up. We won't see the bottom that you guys are waiting for. It's only us who's gonna make it happen, all of us. Yes, sir. Well, good luck to us again. It's nice
All
seeing you
right.
guys again. Yeah, we're gonna enjoy the day again, man.